Client drama. What exactly does it look like? I'll tell you all about it in this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. We are wrapping up our group coaching legally series and we are headed into our masterminds and live events legal series. This topic though today is the perfect segue in between them because when our clients start interacting with each other, humans never fail to come up with new and inventive ways to get into trouble. All right, so in our prior videos, we have been talking all about how to make sure that you can deliver a transformational group program that actually builds up your brand while simultaneously bringing more revenue into your business and freeing you up from that one-on-one seat without doing exactly the opposite, which is making it impossible to sell your services in the future because so many people at scale in a group setting had a bad experience, namely one where they did not feel supported in getting the transformational promised result of the program. But even the coaches who show up the best can still have client drama in their containers. And so I want to talk to you today about exactly what that looks like so that you understand how all of your legal pieces actually have a practical component to head off that kind of drama to begin with. All right. I have named the type of client drama that exists in group containers as the nightmare client trifecta. These are people who come into the group, they are never happy, they want to stop paying for the payment plan, and may even request a refund for what they already paid for. And then as the cherry on top, they go and poison the well, so to speak, by sowing discontent inside of your group with your other clients. Now, I've seen this happen on a small scale, and I've seen it happen on such a large scale that the coach ended up completely ending the program and giving everyone their money back because there were so many unhappy people that they weren't even all speaking up. They were just kind of ghosting and disappearing from the group. So it was better for the coach's reputation to end that round because these discontented people had ruined the vibe for everybody. Now, whether or not that was the necessary outcome and whether or not this unhappy client was justified in being unhappy is not really what we're talking about today. I really want to focus more on being sure that you're putting out a program that you can actually deliver on and that you have what you need in place to be sure that a person like this does not leave you powerless over the dynamics of your own group and powerless over whether this is going to be like the thing that sinks your ship in your business overall. When it comes to handling the group dynamic, we have to understand that your group members are going to be having relationships with each other that are outside of your presence and outside of your control. There's not much that you can do about that except, as we talked about in an earlier video in the group coaching legally series, having a set of rules and expectations about the fact that you cannot be responsible for the business that's done between your clients, that you do expect confidentiality, but of course cannot guarantee it, and just generally having a code of conduct about how the people interact with each other so that the group itself is a safe place for people to come and do the work. Now, those things are great protections, but what happens when somebody goes against it? You have to keep an eye on the group for sure so that you can not have to wait until it gets so bad that your other group members are reaching out and, going through their own internal drama about the difficulty of kind of ratting on someone in the group. You've got to keep an eye out and you've got to rely on your spidey sense about who may be in that group causing trouble. And you want to be sure that you have the legal clauses in place that allow you to, first of all, speak to that person and tell them they cannot be doing these things if it's fixable, and that allows you to remove them from the group setting without breaching your own contract. So hear me out on this. You had them sign a client agreement, hopefully, that says, I'm going to deliver you this program. You're going to pay me this money. And you'll know that I've delivered the program because you're going to have access to the training material. You're going to have access to the group. You're going to have access to me and my support coaches during set hours. Whatever it is that you're including in the program. Well, what happens if you remove a troublemaker from the group? Does that mean that you didn't deliver on your promise under the contract and therefore they can get a refund? If your agreement doesn't state anything about your discretion to remove someone, then yeah, they're probably in a really good position to get a refund. And you've got to have a client agreement specifically for groups that was drafted to address the things that are most likely to go wrong and how they will play out. So that's a plug for me because mine is drafted that way. If you're curious about how to be sure that your contracts for all of your different types of programs are this specific, and what you should be looking out for, definitely make sure that you sign up for Meeting with My Lawyer, and we'll talk about the legal cage, which are the 4 things you need to look for in all of your programs, no matter what type of group coaching or one-on-one coaching that you're offering. Anyway, so we want to be sure, though, that you are able to remove this person without breaching your agreement and therefore giving them the ability to request the refund. The next piece of this is that we also want you to be able to kind of guide what sort of discussions can take place in your group. And that's where you want to have group rules in place. Since COVID especially, there have been many events in the news that do not necessarily pertain to the subject of coaches' teachings, but because they run large groups, those groups have felt that the coach has a responsibility to weigh in on the conversation or to moderate a conversation about those topics that's happening in the group setting. And I'll just say it in short, many coaches have royally screwed this up, which has really undermined their credibility and their brand goodwill. So I want you to consider when you are creating your group rules that client drama may not be about disagreements over your material. It may not be about, negative interactions that your clients have when they do business together. It may not even be about breaching confidentiality or breaching trust in the group setting. It could be about something completely outside of what you're doing in your business. And I don't say that to scare you. I just want to let you know that when humans get together, these possibilities exist. And so in our prior video talking about how to price your group coaching program, these are the types of contingencies and realities that we need to be sure your price compensates you for. So that is one of the big considerations about knowing that you're ready to offer a group program, is that you feel equipped to moderate these types of dynamics in a way that isn't going to completely, drain your energy and also kill your brand reputation and make you have to give back all or a big part of your paycheck. So this is another way that client drama can show up, is about peripheral discussions happening inside of the group and a lack of shared values, I'll say, between the participants in the group and the coach himself or herself. The final thing that I want you to know today about how client drama shows up is related to trying to get additional support that is really not included in the program. Now, again, in a group setting, we've talked about it ad nauseum practically at this point, that the big difference is how accountability and transformation are going to change compared to a one-on-one setting. So if you have group experts, support coaches, and those types of people in the group, you'll want to be very clear with your clients about how and for what purpose and to what degree they can access those experts and you. You don't want to find out that your coaches are doing all of this extra work that they're either not being paid for because they're not set up in your system to be paid that way, or that you do have to pay them for it. It's really all going to one client who really would be better served by a one-on-one program. Having frank and open conversations with your audience and with your customers in a group setting is the key to heading off a lot of these dramas. And so you want to do that with a combination of your group rules and expectations, with a welcome video inside of your portal about what the expectations are, letting them know in advance that if you do see an issue, you reserve the right to pull them out of the group and find another way to deliver. And that finally, the group is appropriate for people who have a certain set of characteristics. This is important to put on your sales page. And that if they really don't meet that, or they're not quite ready, then they should really consider either something lower in price to get them ready, like a simple course, or that something that is more support oriented, like a one-on-one program. Now, Group coaching programs are not the only way that clients will interact with each other. Group containers is kind of the next direction that we're going in our legal series. So if you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe so that the world can know and they can also get help in their group containers. But I want you to stick with me because this is the perfect transition into our next series, all about what it takes to set up a mastermind legally. Yet another program where you're going to have human dynamics to deal with.